Hello and welcome to the show. For this week's FailRace versus the community, we were going racing with some cycle production, which means everybody in exactly equal stock cars. Our first race at the Lime Rock circuit using the Eagle Talon. When I do these, I try to pick cars that we tend not to see particularly often. Cars certainly I have never driven, so something a little bit different for the videos. Now the Talon, while not a bad car at all, do not get me wrong, not massively fast. Around a place like Lime Rock, overtaking was likely to be a tad trickier. However, that can sometimes get spectacular races around here, sometimes not so spectacular. We were trying to fit 3 cars wide. It's not the best idea. Thankfully, the car behind me backed out of that one. Up the hill, yeah, you can get 2 wide, no problem. 3 wide is a little bit on the dicey side. I get a good run on the outside at the top of the hill. Try to keep my momentum up. However, well, while I get the pass done, we would have some issues with invisible cars. Now, there are 3 or 4 cars, I think, not showing up on the replay. There were cars not showing up for people during the race. There were cars I couldn't see. There were cars that couldn't see me, and you could see it around a fair bit. That for everybody, there were probably 2 cars they couldn't see and 2 cars that couldn't see them. It was a mess, and that's a shame because for a race like this, you know, when you do certainly the slower tier cars, the slower cars, you get very, very close racing, and that tends to fall apart a little bit when people can't see one another. So, yeah, there was a bit of a mess, and certainly the front group managed to run away. A little bit, this being the front group. It is all very, very close indeed, but in cars like these, your braking zones are pretty damn tiny, and you have to take just about whatever opportunities you get, and sure enough, the red car, a little bit wide, just left a gap on the inside. It was enough of a gap for an Eagle Talon to fire past. It was a forceful move, but often that has to be the case a little bit with these. As soon as the door is left that little bit ajar, someone is going to find a way past. As you see, there's a bit of a laggy shunt to go on through the first corner with either cars invisible to people or... Yeah, it's difficult to tell really, but again, all it does in this instance, at least that we can see it, is slow the red car down enough. As soon as that car's been slowed down, puts it out of position, you then have a train of vehicles lining up to try and find a way past. And as soon as you're sort of slow off one corner, when everybody's in identical cars, yeah, you're going to be put under a huge amount of pressure, and the cars ahead are going to get arrested by able to escape. It's a great pass from the sort of coppery car on the outside. Again, trying to make it 3 wide at a place where 3 wide is probably not a particularly good idea. Yeah, to sweep around the outside up the top of the hill and get a good run through the next corner is a decent pass indeed. Now the grey and white car is going to join in. Again, the red car being a little bit slower for corner. However, the grey vehicle not quite got the run this time around. You could actually surprisingly carry plenty of speed off-road with these cars, as a few people found out running out wide into the dirt on that final corner. Your run down to turn 1 wasn't as hampered as you might expect. Now, I was struggling with the Eagle. I didn't realise until the very final lap that I'd done a fair bit of engine damage to my car, so mine was down on power. And again, in an identical race, that does, show, as I was starting to hold up the vehicles behind, although in doing that, they started fighting one another. The white car here, able to get a good pass up the inside, but you'll see the red car actually dipped the wheels across the grass on that final corner. Still, I might have more than the wheels, it still had enough of a run to try and get up the inside into the first corner. I too was taking some interesting lines. It was a good repass into turn 1 for the red car, but then he was back behind me trying to find ways past. Now, at the front, we would have some problems, to say the least. The car that actually went on to lead, went on to win, I can't see on the replays, and that car couldn't see some of the vehicles he was racing with. This vehicle that we are following here is the car that would end up in 2nd place. It's an unfortunate problem. It is an unfortunate... We haven't had such a almost widespread vanishing of cars in a race for a while. Sometimes you'd have one person that couldn't see various vehicles and so on, but yeah, the amount of people that couldn't see cars in this one was huge, and it did cause a real problem. And yeah, as far as getting close racing going, it's not so great. The most exciting of finishes, certainly the most exciting of finishes that make sense looking at this replay, would be, well, with me. This was a fight for around 6th, 7th place. I was desperately trying to cling on and was struggling with the Eagle Talons. We headed on to the final lap. It was down the inside for the white car. He would be passed, and I had to try and be careful not to hemorrhage too many positions. The cars behind were very quick indeed. They'd been unlucky being turned and spat off the track by cars that couldn't see them. However, they were very fast and looking for ways past me. One car was gone, but I could continue to be defensive, or I hoped to continue to be defensive. However, a much better run out of the corner would allow the white car alongside. Now, we'd seen people being brave around the outside through this hill, and well, I was going to keep my car there. Hope that I could maintain the speed. The white car was actually a little bit slow on the run up the hill, and as soon as there is that opportunity, it is the red vehicle to the outside, and that helps me. My rally crossing doesn't help me, but they start fighting, and indeed the red car's got the speed to get the pass done. They've fought each other, they've slowed each other down, that's taken the pressure off me briefly. It was just the run to the line. You can see the amount I'm struggling in terms of straight line speed as we come to the finish line. I would just keep the place, but only just one more lap. I would have lost another 2 places. Yeah, my Eagle was a little bit poorly, but quite good fun final lap for us back here. The victor would be Elgay, but unfortunately, yeah, we don't see the car during this. Stinty Boy in 2nd place. Please don't eat me in 3rd. On to race number 3, and we wouldn't have so many problems with invisible cars this time around, which was good, as we used the Dodge Neon, the SRT4. Again, another vehicle. Never driven this one whatsoever. The circuit we have come to, the Road America West alternate track. I quite like this circuit. It's an interesting layout. Certainly overtaking around here a fair bit easier than you get at Lime Rock. There's some decent sized straights followed by some decent sized braking zones on this opening lap. The white car we're following here is wiggling around a little bit under braking. In fact, it's something that we see from these cars quite a lot. The rear end, I guess maybe even slight rear locking, or certainly unloading the rear end. I guess a lot of weight over the front of this car. I saw it on quite a number of occasions under heavy braking, certainly with some overtaking manoeuvres. You just see the back of the car moving around. I didn't really experience it too much driving it. I guess maybe it could be replays being a little dodgy, but yeah, it's quite a spectacular sight with some of these overtakes. I had started a fair way down the order, was trying to work my way up. As I said, overtaking around here is a little bit more possible. There are plenty of different places you can try and get a pass done. The white car ahead of me is a little bit slow, although this isn't the easiest of places to get passes done. A red car had made a mistake. We're all trying to get up the inside here. It's a dodgy corner. It's a very difficult corner to see with the crest as you turn in, but I get a good run on the exit, able to try and maintain momentum around the outside, and that would be enough to get a pass completed once I can move it across back to the normal racing line. In fact, the white car is out a little bit wide through the next corner. He's in trouble from the vehicles behind. I'm able to escape. Although the leaders had been running in clean air, and as we've seen time and time again in these sort of single-make races, if you can run in clean air, that is massively advantageous. Just a couple of laps can make a huge difference. The leader, well, you can just about see him off down there in the distance. This 2nd and 3rd place, but they pull a huge gap. By being able to run in clean air, running decent laps, you can pull a huge gap back to the pack behind that are busy fighting for these opening stages. As we come under brakes for the first big stop. Again, you see the white car moving around a bit. The purple car up ahead is slow off of the turn. Not by a huge amount, but again, when you're all in identical cars, about sort of keeping that momentum going. The purple car a little wide through the next corner, and sure enough, at the end, just sort of slightly wonky lines will put him out of position. That's going to be enough for the white car to have a look up the inside, and he would get the position, get the pass done. It's a fair old gap to go and try and chase down the leader, especially when the leader was going as quickly as that orange car. They had more concerns from the vehicle behind them that were setting some pretty quick laps. In the laps where I didn't make mistakes, I was able to run okay with this car, but a few too many mistakes, a few too offs from me would consign my fate to not sort of really being able to catch up to those guys. Further back, it was plenty busy. Again, sometimes with one-make races, you get incredibly close races throughout the field. Sometimes you get people split up and you sort of get little groups forming. This one was much more of a sort of small groups of cars racing rather than an entire field close together. Up ahead, it was a big dive from the yellow car, but in doing so, both the yellow and blue car compromised themselves by taking two tighter lines. The red car's the one with the momentum here. It's around the outside of one corner, you put on the inside for the next, but nature of this circuit, you're going to probably get stuck on the outside for somewhere. He's still stuck trying to find a way past, and now he's on that bit of an awkward line. There is just about enough of a gap. Will get his vehicle back across. A little bit of lag from the yellow car. Everybody okay. The yellow vehicle with a better run up towards the next corner, and that group would, continue to fight for some time. Back towards the front, the white car was up in second place, but coming under increasing amounts of pressure. This silver vehicle, very, very quick indeed around this circuit, goes to the outside. It's a long, long way round to go on that outside line, but if you can hold it there, you will then be on the inside, and it's much, much more preferable to be on the inside through an even longer final corner. You can stick it out the long way around. You can, where the white car is on the outside, sometimes make something work. But in identical cars, that's tough because, well, everybody's got exactly the same machinery, exactly the same amount of grip. The white car isn't close enough to have a look up the inside into this tight chicane, and he will have to have to fall back into that third place. Again, you can see the amount that leader has pulled over these guys as they were fighting for position. The silver car actually made through second and third place, or made his way up to second pretty quickly, but that's still a big old gap for him to try and recover. I would be locked for the latter half of the race in a massive battle with this gold car. I had a lot of fun in this little group. Having made a mistake to fall behind him, they continued to try and find a way back past the final corner. I actually ran a little bit too much on the inside, just clipping the grass. That was enough to slow my run. I can still get a good exit through here. It is side by side down towards the first corner. However, too late on the brakes for me, would see my car carted off onto the grass. I just asked too much of it. It was pretty much the story of my race with this. I would go very, very quick up until the point where I just asked a tiny bit too much of the neon and then fell off the track. And then go very quick again up until I fell off the track. Yeah, it wasn't my finest piece of driving. Had some fun fighting with the orange car, but yeah, it was too many silly errors from me. We'd pulled miles clear of the rest of the group. At the front, as I was saying, a fairly lonely race. Some of us further back had considerably more fun, but a fairly lonely race for the leader. Able to pull that gap, and not really much the rest of us can do. Even if we were half a second a lap faster than him, the gap he'd got in the opening couple of laps, way too surmountable, and I'm not even sure. I think fastest laps were pretty close between a few of us, but just sort of too spread out with the way that the race would go. But of course, leading the way, you still got to make sure you don't make any mistakes. Mieri would take the victory. F1 Kieran in second place, while Blazer would cling on to that third place. Round number 3. And we would head to Suzuka with the BMW M6, the fastest car of the day, and by far and away the heaviest. Little bit of a boat, these things to drive. Not that bad to drive, but they are a little bit boat-esque. Now, while we didn't have invisible car problems so much in this one, we had laggy car problems. It wasn't a good day. It wasn't such a good day for the Forza servers. While the front cars would all get through, a couple of cars were lagging quite considerably, made it very difficult for us to tell quite where they were on the track, and that would ping various ones of us off. You'll probably see me in the background, in fact, taking a trip across the gravel trap. A car would just sort of lag, ping itself across the track, hit the side of me, and send me off into the gravel, and a few other vehicles affected by similar things. At the front, the white and yellow car tried to sneak up the inside, couldn't quite do it, and in that attempted overtake, loses the place to the blue car. Again, it's the hold. All it takes in these sort of vehicles when you're racing this closely, the smallest of errors, and somebody is going to fight past. And sure enough, the blue car put a wheel on the AstroTurf on the exit. The yellow vehicle will try and get back past. He's going to have to do it the difficult way at the hairpin. It is a long way around. Somebody, fourth place car, gets a good run on that tighter line as everybody's going to go side by side. It's almost 3 wide. Big slide from the white and yellow car. It's not necessarily where you want to be getting a big slide in these cars around these next couple of turns. I mean, the blue car has now got the preferred line as everyone comes under brakes for the first time, and everybody is struggling to get the car stopped. Nobody was quite sure what the braking performance was going to be with the BMWs. Everyone did a very good job of not actually piling into one another. Just a few cars ended up on the AstroTurf on the outside, and it was the yellow car here that comes off worst. When you're stuck on the outside around that particular point, that's, yeah, what's likely to happen. Now, while the first couple of races ended up rather spread out, not so much the case here in these opening laps. It was mayhem. As I said, these are pretty big and pretty damn heavy cars, and while they're not the easiest things to drive, they are quite oversteery. They're quite tail happy, and you know, entertaining enough, and that made for some rather close racing. One of the vehicles up ahead ended up out a little bit too far wide. This track feels quite narrow for the for the big BMWs, especially when you're trying to fit too wide through these corners. Up towards the hairpin we go, and it is a rather busy group of cars here. Certainly, I think almost too wide all the way back into the hairpin. Various different lines. The white and green car at the front run a little bit too deep, although when you do that, you can get a good run. You'll get a better acceleration down this next straight. The pure white car's having a look up the inside along with the green vehicle. The green car, while might not have the ideal line down this sort of long curve, you do have the inside for Spoon, and that is a much preferred line through there. The green car will hold the position. The white vehicle, in trying to get the pass done, costs himself a place. In a group like this, again, end up out wide. Just the smallest of opportunities, you leave that inside open. Somebody is going to put their car alongside you. It's very easy to lose places. Very easy. If you try and get an overtake, you can't get it completed to end up falling further back. 130R is a rather terrifying corner in these cars, especially when everybody is running as close as the dark green car with a mega run, but just nowhere to go. There's too many vehicles up ahead. White car on the outside gets a big moment on the grass, but he's going to get two cars in one go. It's a brilliant pass to get the vehicle through on the outside. No one quite expected it to work. Unfortunately, a big lag bump would see the poor white car out wide in the final turn. After such a brilliant pass, would end up dropping back further down the field. It's now 3 wide down towards turn 1. The red car trying to get alongside on the inside. The dark green car is going to try and brave it. The red vehicle cleverly thinks better of that. 3 wide into turn 1 here is not going to be a fun thing to do, not with cars such as this. The dark green vehicle still holding it around the outside. And if he can get it there, he will be on the preferred line through at the first part of the S's and can carry enough speed to get clear of that lighter green car and move up a position. For me, well, it was a fair bit of a recovery drive in all of this, having been bumped off the track early on. However, once I got the hang of these cars, the first couple of laps I really didn't like the M6. Later on, I started to warm to it more. Not an easy car to drive. Once you get the hang of it, yeah, it wasn't too bad, and I would spot an opportunity. Both me and the white car here had been sort of kept at bay by the red vehicle for a lap and a half. However, a little bit slow out of Spoon. I spot the gap. Will fire up the inside into 130R. No one really wants to go around the outside at that particular corner. The red vehicle has got a decent enough run on the exit. He's thinking about trying to go around the outside. As we saw, it is very possible to get that outside to work there. This time, though, he isn't able to quite get far enough at a big enough slide for the red car to slow him down, and I would be safe by the time we got down towards that first corner. I'll be out of range of a big dive bomb at the front, and, well, the battle for the lead continued. Unlike the previous 2 races, in which leaders were able to get clear, certainly with the Dodgers able to get clear, that was not happening whatsoever here. The white and black BMW had taken the lead, but was under constant threat from the vehicles behind. The yellow car determined to try and find a way past as they run up towards the hairpin. I'm pretty sure there have been wheels on the grass from just about everybody at that point. The black car takes a wider line, is actually a little bit slow on the way in, spins the wheels on the exit, trying to get that power down, and they're going to go once again side by side through this kind of very, very long, almost never-ending corner. It is flat out. I mean, I'm not sure if they quite touched through there. They're certainly trading paint at a lot of speed in quite heavy vehicles heading into Spoon. They both go very wide. The blue car's trying to sneak up the inside. He can't quite do it. There's not going to be a gap for a BMW behind. They're continuing to fight for 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on. The white and black car only lost 1 position in all of that, although does have a fairly good run down towards 130. The blue car's having a look to the inside. Again, it's anyone going to be brave enough to have a dive. This corner might be flat out in a Formula 1 car. You're certainly not going to be flat out in the BMWs, and it's a little mistake from the yellow vehicle. Too wide on the exits across the AstroTurf. The white and black cars having to go the long way round, and it is the long way round, but gets it done just about. Now the blue car's fighting back, although he's going to have to try and hold it through this final corner. It would be enough to get the pass done. It was a ridiculous battle going on at the front, and it continued with this 4th place, with perhaps the most spectacular overtake, certainly, of the evening. The dark green BMW that was going very quickly, making his way through the field, gets a good run out of Spoon, up towards 130. The car ahead of him goes defensive, as you would expect. Well, I said, you don't tend to want to go around the outside of 130. The green car is determined to make his way through the order, and that is a brilliant, brilliant pass. To have judged it so perfectly, to not end up on the curb, on the AstroTurf, around there. Again, we're in equal cars here. There's no more grip in that dark green BMW. He was able to get the pass done there. It's a fantastic piece of driving, although it's not quite all finished yet. The white and black car does get a better run out of the chicane. That will allow him to get alongside down towards turn 1. The cars ahead continue to fight the yellow vehicle, getting back up the inside. Unfortunately, the blue car held on so valiantly, carries too much speed into turn 1, ends up out wide. The vehicle that we were following just not quite able to carry the same speed through the corners as the green car. He would fall back and start fighting with the blue car, who would eventually recover that position. Yeah, it was a frantic, crazy, brilliant race in in many ways, this one. Unlike the previous races, where sort of varying reasons, often not helped by invisible cars, etc., just the fields would get spread up. Not so much the case here with the BMWs. The dark green car would actually make its way up into 2nd place on the final lap through the final chicane. It would be the white and black car that would go on to take a victory. Certainly hard fought for victory in this one. Yeah, had a lot of fun with the BMWs in this one. As I said, the first couple of laps I didn't like the car. However, warmed to it more as the race went on. Yeah, it was interesting to see the boats proving to be the best race in many ways of the 3. It would be the same top 2 from the previous race. Muri able to just about fend off the charge of Kieran. A couple more laps would have been interesting with Impega in 3rd. So, here we go. Cycle production, always an interesting one. Always an interesting one, indeed. A shame that Forza wanted to play funny buggers, as it sometimes does with online racing. Did spoil the fun in a couple of the events, but yeah, that is going to be it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one is going to be on Thursday, the 18th of January. We are going to go racing with the new Hyundai, the Veloster N, going to be built to B-Class. So, yeah, I might possibly change the class. I'll see what it's like when the car actually comes out at the time of recording this. I am not 100% sure on the vehicle, because it's not quite out in Forza yet, but it will be by the time we come to Thursday. It's also going to be a free DLC, so you don't have to have the season pass or buy any of the DLCs to get that car. Yeah, a one-make hot hatch thing, always, again, likely to be entertaining if Forza behaves itself. If you want to sign up and take part in that, you can via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. Find the FailRace versus the community section, and you can sign up in there. But that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.